someone mentioned that they feel like they have relapsed. They went on to describe this unconditional love, absolute bliss, for about a week. And then it felt like they relapsed back to the conditioned self, believing to be a separate me, and all of the conditioning patterns that they believed to transcend reappeared, and they then became lost in the identification, found themselves to be in a very dark place. So I thought that it would be good to share a video about this, as it is actually quite common that the initial recognition or a glimpse of our true nature can be so powerful and create such a contrast to the experience prior to the recognition, the experience of separation, the experience of the me that I believe to be. And when there's the glimpse, there's this very drastic contrast between the two. And you could say it kind of feels like a honeymoon period. Actually, people have actually described it like that you're on cloud 9 and no worries about anything, and there's just bliss. So how does one go from that back to this darkness, this depression? And it really feels like that, like you are uplifted, that there's this transcendent experience, and then it feels like you are then dropped back into what would feel like hell, that you have this contrast that you were living in hell, you essentially were free from hell, getting the heaven experience, and then you are back to living in hell. And a lot of the times, this dropping, this falling back into the conditioning, back into identification, falling back into ignorance, actually feels worse than before, because before you didn't have the heaven experience. You didn't know what bliss felt like. So now it feels, in a way, worse. In a way, worse. And to what the questioner said, yes, it may feel like a relapse. It may feel like a relapse. So one of the things that's very powerful to help one not relapse, or even if one feels that they have relapsed and they want to know, well, how do I establish myself in that bliss? And that's not even correct by saying it like that. It's really establishing yourself as bliss, not in the bliss. That you aren't separate from the bliss. That would be the fall into ignorance, back into the belief in separation. So overcoming this relapse, this fall into ignorance, what's a powerful way to overcome that and establish oneself as the truth is is actually being part of the community. There's a community that's formed around the truth. It's this living truth. You can feel it. If you are part of our community, which is called Truth Community, you can feel it. There is an aliveness. It's the living truth. And this helps one establish themselves as that. It cleanses those impurities of mind, removes those old conditioning patterns. It has this uplifting energy, which some call grace. So really being part of the community is really overlooked by many, because sometimes it feels like you might show up for one meeting or watch a video, something clicks, and then there's this big realization, this experience of a big release, a feeling of transcendence, and then comes the drop. Then comes the relapse. And what I see is often people have forgotten about the community, or they don't want to be part of it after that. In some way, shape, or form, they have seemed to isolate themselves from the community. And you know that they're going through something, that they're experiencing this depression, and it just creates more of this separation. Like I said, it's that fall that tends to feel even worse, that feels very isolated, very depressing, like you've fallen into this black hole. So if that is you, it's an invitation to come back to Truth Community. If this has happened to you and maybe you are part of another community in which is sharing the same truth, then perhaps go back to that community. But there is something to be said of establishing yourself as the truth. Is that even though you feel like you've heard the teaching, you understand it, there's perhaps this bond with the teacher. It's really this community, this aliveness, this energy field that really helps you establish yourself. And it's funny because the questioner did say that word, that the relapse, and it will feel like a relapse. It will feel like a relapse. It will feel like you have been, like you overcame yourself, but then you have fallen back to your addiction, the addiction with the story, the addiction with the body mind, being identified. So in a weird way, it is very much like an addiction. It's this habit, and that's where just this undoing of these habits are really undone in the community. Just the the presence. That energy field. And it's very similar, actually, how that works to other communities that are around about addictions, that there's this strength to the community. There's that energy field, that uplifting energy that can pull one out of that darkness, to pull one out of that isolation, that separation. Because the community, together, calm, unity, one, together, we are one. You feel that oneness. You are feeling the truth. It's palpable. It's very energetic. It's very transformative. So just being part of the community already is a step to that transformation of those old conditioning patterns and that pull of the habitual identification. It feels like that pull is weakening, or you may feel like you are getting stronger as your true self, overcoming. So this is seen in those groups, the support groups, and that's what they are. It's this group of like-minded, like-hearted people that it's this support coming together. And it's really the support of the truth that you are that is supporting you. There's this feeling like it's nurturing you. This energy is very nurturing. It revitalizes you. So to just get an experience and then walk away and then feel like now you've lost it and you're in this dark place, and almost like, I don't even know what people would experience to say like why they don't come back. Maybe shame, or maybe embarrassment, or maybe too much pride. I can do this by myself. I don't know. But it's that support that's needed to support that realization, to support now what I call living truth. First, there's the realization of the truth, and then now it's as if there's a new journey in a way. Now living truth. And this journey is ongoing. It's endless. So the support of truth community can really help one establish themselves as the truth and live as that. Hopefully this helps. See you in the next one.